Okay. Got some folks coming in. Let me share my screen. This is the part where I talk to myself a bunch before we get rolling in just 1 minute. Okay. It's all right. We've got folks coming in. So I want to go ahead and get us rolling. Okay, hello. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, opening a business bank account and paying yourself for the Georgia Thrive. Oh, somebody raised a hand. I just want to make sure I'm sharing. Am I sharing the correct screen?
Looks good.
Okay. I see people with hands raised. Sorry, folks, as I get used to somehow new technology. Okay. I think we're okay. Again, hello. Thanks for joining us here today for this webinar presented through the Georgia Thriving Childcare Business Academy. My name is Beth Breyer, and I'll be your presenter for today. And I'm part of a national team of childcare business coaches and trainers from Civitas Strategies, working with the Thrive Childcare Business Academy to bring Georgia providers critical information, resources, and skill building to support business success and sustainability. And before I continue with my what are we doing today, I want to introduce Emily, who's our Spanish interpreter for the day, and she's going to explain how to use that channel if you need it.
Good afternoon to everyone. Buenas tardes a todo el mundo. Mi nombre es Emily y estoy aquí para proporcionar servicios de interpretación en español. En un momentico vamos a encender la función de interpretación. Entonces ubícanse al fondo de su ventana de Zoom. Ahí verá un icono de un globo. Haciendo clic ahí se va a conectar con la función de interpretación y puede escoger Spanish o español. Si se está conectando con móvil, empuje los 3 puntitos. De ahí escoge Interpretation, pues español o Spanish, pues done o listo. Si tiene cualquier dificultad, por favor comunícase con nosotros en el chat. Ahora presenta Beth Breyer, que está en conjunto con Georgia Thriving, la Academia de Negocios para Cuidado Infantil. Espero que disfrute la presentación. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just responding to, actually, I'll just say it out loud. Yes, you are all muted in the moment, so we can't hear you. Tequila, I think is the name. Okay, now I need to put you into...
Y para que sepan, todos están en mudo en el momento y cuando surge la ocasión para hacer preguntas, se van a quitar de mudo. Just a quick question. Will people be able to be taken off mute afterwards in order to ask questions?
Yes, you feel free to
Okay.
put questions in the chat and then we'll do a Q&A at the end.
Perfecto. Entonces, si tienen alguna pregunta o comentario, lo puede poner en el chat y vamos a hacer una sesión de preguntas y respuestas al final, pero mientras tanto, durante la presentación, se van a mantener en mudo o en silencio. Gracias.
Great. Okay, I'm going to start the interpreter channel. Hopefully that's all good. Thank you, Emily. So today's session will last about an hour, and as we said, include Q&A time at the end. Feel free to use that chat as needed. If I miss you, I promise I will come back to the chat if I'm missing you in that moment. I look forward to engaging in conversation at the end if you have any remaining questions after we've gone through the presentation. So to begin, just a quick disclaimer for you to read through, and I will just paraphrase by saying that I am not a lawyer or a tax advisor, and the content we'll go over today is not intended to be legal, tax, or financial advice. So for today's conversation, we're going to go over what to look for when opening a business bank account and how to get started. And we're also going to answer the questions, what should I pay myself? why should I pay myself, and how do I pay myself, and how do I get started? So hopefully we'll answer all of your questions about that today. So to begin, setting up a business bank account is not difficult, and it's the best first step to ensuring that you're clearly separating your personal and your business costs and revenue. Once set up, you can easily see what money is in your business versus in your own pocket. It's not a difficult process, but we do want you to shop around a little and compare banks. Even if you're happy with your current personal bank, we recommend looking at one or two others to be sure that you're getting the best options for you and your business. And if anyone happens to be here and they do have a business bank account, I would recommend, listening through the next few slides and evaluating if your bank is meeting those expectations for you as well. So there are 4 main reasons to open a business bank account. First, it's important to separate your personal and your business finances. Second, it can help you organize and track your income and spending. Third, it will make bookkeeping easier. And finally, it can help if you are audited. In selecting a bank for your business account, first and foremost, relationships are important, right? You want to make sure that the bank will be responsive to your needs and your questions, and also provide you with the opportunity to grow over time. Once you've established a relationship with your bank, this may allow you to access other financial supports, such as business loan or a line of credit, right? Or these things that can help you grow your business, right? So be sure to evaluate if there are opportunities that the bank can grow with you, right? So here's some things to consider. Does the bank require you to deposit a certain amount of money in the account to open the account? Or to keep a minimum in that account? This takes away from usable funds. They might be in your account, but if they need to stay there, they're not useful for you, right? Are there fees associated with that account? And what are they? Small fees can add up quickly, right? How many checks can you write in a month? How many deposits can you make? Some banks may place limits on those. Other things to think about are, will you need a debit or a credit card for your business, right? And what are the fees associated with that? Do you have access to financing from for your business, or the ability to use a credit card that's through your bank? So, once you've considered a couple of banks, pull your answers to those questions that I just mentioned together and ensure that they pass the relationship test, right? Do you feel like your business is going to be supported there? And then compare fees and other things to decide which is the better deal for you. So for example, if we are looking at this example, right, between these two banks, Bank A and Bank B, Bank A has a higher minimum deposit, let's say $500. But their fees are lower. Let's say that fee would total $5 a month. But Bank B has higher fees totaling $8 a month, but no minimum deposit. So which is the right choice? The right choice. It depends, right? So, when choosing a bank, consider your personal needs and finances. Gather that important information that you need to make the best choice for you, for your family, and for your business. Coming right through into paying yourself, right? So we've chosen a bank. Let's talk about what to do with it, right? Too many childcare providers do not see a regular income from their business, right? You work hard, but you still don't get paid on a regular basis. Instead, that income is sitting in a checking account, waiting until there is enough money or enough confidence to provide the payment that you and your family really need and deserve. So in the next slides, we're going to talk through, the information on how, why, and how much you should pay yourself. So why should I pay myself regularly? There are many reasons to pay yourself regularly, but we're going to point out the two most significant ones right now. First, regular pay is better for you and your family. Yes, of course, you want to keep your childcare business afloat, but you also need money to pay your own expenses and costs, right? You have rent, you have mortgage, you have utilities, you need food, etc., right? And all of your personal bills need to be paid regularly. And having cash on hand to pay your personal expenses will help you keep up with, your bills and avoid missing payments or avoid using credit cards to make those payments until you do pay yourself. And then secondly, many relief programs at the state and federal levels that are helping childcare businesses and businesses in general with pandemic recovery allow for regular staff payment and benefits as allowable costs. So for example, there's a program in Wisconsin called Wisconsin's Child Care Count Stabilization Payments. And those allow business owners to use funds for pay, making it a program cost. But if you're not paying yourself, then that money is just sitting in a bank account and it cannot be justified as a program cost. So how do we do this? So step one, we first recommend setting up a business bank account. We talked through this just a minute ago. Again, it's going to keep your business and your personal money separate, which is going to help make it clear when you are paying yourself and when money is staying in your childcare business. As I said, opening an account can be really easy. We just want you to think about those things like monthly fees and what that bank has to offer for you and your business. So now that you have your business account, you're going to decide how you want to pay yourself. And there are two recommended methods. One way is to write a check to yourself or make a transfer into your personal account for the pay period. And once your accounts are set up and running, all you really need to do to get paid is to transfer money from your business account into your personal account. So instead of receiving a salary, this is called a draw. And you effectively write a check to yourself, which can be done, of course, by writing an actual check or sending a transfer or making a direct deposit into your personal account. And then next, after you've made that draw, right, the next thing you want to do is make sure that you track it. So if you're using accounting software, you can mark transactions to yourself as a owner's equity or a disbursement. But you want to make sure that you're even if you're not using accounting software, if you're doing bookkeeping by hand, you want to make sure still that you are keeping track of what you're paying yourself, how you're paying yourself, and when paying yourself. Another way that you can pay yourself is to become a W-2 employee of your business. This is only available for corporation business structures, so this may or may not apply to some of you. And after you've begun to pay yourself in general, it may be a good time for you to think about what business structure benefits you most. Certain business structures, such as an LLC, provide another layer of separation from your personal and business identities for liability purposes. Also, becoming a W-2 employee of your corporation can provide tax benefits. So if that's something that you're thinking about, or if you want to begin your business that way, it's advised that you speak with an attorney if you're interested in that business structure. So to determine how much you should pay yourself, we recommend that you develop a monthly budget and track your actual income and expenses to understand how much you typically receive and how much you pay in expenses for the month. This is going to help you visualize the impact that paying yourself can have on your budget. And an additional way to determine how much you should pay yourself is to understand your program's cash flow. So your cash flow helps you understand how much you're actually receiving versus how much you pay each month and how that amount fluctuates. So it's a little different than a monthly budget. Performing a cash flow projection can allow you to decide how much you should pay yourself each month, as it might vary. If you're looking forward 3 or 6 months, maybe that's a school year, and so your revenue is probably going to remain about the same. Or maybe the summer months are included in that, and we always take a dip in the summer months. And then you can think about how to prepare for that for all of your expenses, but definitely in this case about how much you can pay yourself during those months, if that makes sense. So having looked at your monthly budget and your cash flow, now is a good time to decide if your remaining cash flow is sufficient to cover your personal expenses and those of your family. Paying yourself should be treated like any other necessary expense item. It is essential to the business operation, right? You need to be paid for the work that you are doing. If you're hesitant to pay yourself because the program is not making a profit or is making a very small profit, you should, think about evaluating all of your expenses and see if there's room to reduce other costs or ways to increase revenue. The same way that if you need, I need this to work this month, I can maybe make some changes here and here and here, right? Do that for you as well, and for thinking about the very important expense of your own time and paying yourself. Making the decision to pay yourself is a good first leap, right? It's a big deal. And after that, there's some basic steps to make good on that promise to yourself, right? And so this is essentially what we just walked through, but I'll repeat again. Open a business bank account. Know what's coming in and going out. Use your budget and your cash flow to help inform the amount that you will pay yourself. And then commit to an amount, even if it's low to begin with, that's okay. Or consider a percentage of available income if a flat amount feels like too much during the months where you maybe have less coming in. And then make sure that you keep track of your draws, even on a simple piece of paper or spreadsheet. And of course, be mindful of your anticipated tax obligations and set aside some money to cover any taxes. Okay, that was a lot. And we went through a lot pretty quickly. So I do see that there's a question in my question box here. Is Zelle considered a transfer? That is a great question. That is a great question. I know that there are tax implications with getting revenue via Zelle. And Leanne, I know you're in here just observing, but if you know the answer to this question and want to help me out with this, that would be great. I'm not exactly sure if there are tax implications to that. If you're transferring from one of your accounts to your other account, that seems like a transfer to me, but I wouldn't strictly hold me to that. Leanne, do you know?
I don't know the exact answer. Stacy, if you can put your email address in the chat, I will look into that for you. I don't want to give you the wrong information. So if you go ahead and give me your information, I will look into that for you.
Thank you, Leanne. Okay, what other questions do you have that hopefully I can answer for you? And Stacy, thank you for your email there. Okay, if you're getting paid by Venmo or Cash App, is that okay? This may be the same question. Yeah, there are tax implications to getting paid through that again, I don't have off the top of my head. I know that we do have a resource on this.
Sherry, is your question if you are paying yourself via Venmo from your bank account? Is that the, from your business bank account to your personal bank account? Sherry, if you want to put the, parents paying you. So if you are getting paid by parents from Venmo or Cash App, yes, it's okay, but there are some tax implications to that. I can also I'll put a link to that information in here as well.
Thank you, Leanne.
Sure. If you want to take the next question while I'm putting that information in here.
Sure. Can sole proprietors do W-2 forms? Gosh, you guys are shooting just a little bit above my weight limit on all of these.
I can answer that one if you would like.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure. So, I'm looking for your name because I always like to answer the name and I don't have it in front of me.
Chevalier, I believe.
Okay. So for a W-2, it's going to depend on your business setup, which is a little bit beyond the scope of this, but we will have some resources on the Thriving Childcare Business Academy website. So it depends on the structure of your business. If you are operating as a sole proprietor, you generally cannot pay yourself with a W-2. However, you can pay employees if you have them with a W-2. Given that we're talking about paying yourself, the answer is usually no, unless you are set up as a corporation, which some providers are. If you are a sole proprietor, it's considered a pass-through where you take that owner's draw or the, you pay yourself regularly, but that money is then subject to a self-employment tax, which is why it cannot go on a W-2 if you are the owner paying yourself. And now I'm going to find a link to some information on for Sherry on getting paid by parents with a 1090 with Venmo or Cash App. You may need a tax form called a 1099, which I'm going to find some information for you now.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Leanne. And then Joyce is asking in the chat if we're going to be emailing out this PowerPoint. I know that we're recording, but I'm not sure if we're posting.
I will find out and let you know. And again, if you can put your email addresses in the chat, I can get that for you.
Thanks so much, Leanne. Are there any other questions that Leanne might be able to answer for you? I see those emails coming in also. Thank you. We'll make sure that you'll get that information. Okay, I'm going to move ahead to my next slide, but if you have questions, please ask them. But I do want to sort of wrap up a little bit here. And thank you again for taking the time to join our webinar today. And before we close, I want to just take a moment to go over again what we accomplished today. So after today, hopefully you can determine what bank would be best for you in your business and are ready to open a business bank account. Understand how to determine the right amount to pay yourself and decide how to pay yourself as well. We're fielding some questions about exactly how to make those payments to yourself. And a place to go aside from Leanne, who's hooking us up with some information here, where you can go for additional resources and support. We encourage you to head to the Thriving Childcare Business Academy website, which I will give you that website momentarily, to access additional resources and reference material. There are, as you can imagine, a lot of topics that touch paying yourself and rate setting and we talked about a monthly budget, we talked about cash flow. I said many other things that you may want to find more information on, and you can look at the Thriving Childcare Business Academy website for that. Let's see, Stacy's saying the information is informative. Thank you. I appreciate hearing that. Yeah, and I'm glad that you're even if it's not a set amount, Stacy, I'm glad to hear that you are sending yourself money and you are paying yourself in that way. That's great. So I just want to thank everybody for coming today. And another question in the Sherry is asking, so now we're together. My husband and I work together in our in-home childcare. When we open our business account, is it okay if we just put our money together in our personal account? Sherry, are you asking? Sherry, I'm not quite sure what you're asking. is it okay if you open, when we open our business account, is it okay if we just put our money together in our personal account?
Are you asking if you can pay both of you at the same time in one lump sum into a joint personal account?
Gotcha.
I think that's what Sherry's asking. I
Yeah.
believe that would still be considered, you know, an owner's, you know, that the profit going over, so that's okay.
And then here's the website that I was just mentioning there, the DeKalb Thriving Childcare Business Academy website at decal.ga.gov/thriving. Lots and lots of information over there, including more detailed information about the information that we went over here today. This was a very sort of breeze over version of this. Does anybody else have any other questions? Okay, well,
Stacy, I just wanted to say I looked into Zelle a little bit, and I believe that is just a method, a digital way of transferring money from one bank account to another. So that would be the same as writing yourself a check. You know, one of the ways Beth talked about that is advisable to pay yourself. So that that does work as a way to pay yourself.
great. Thank you for checking on that, Leanne. Do we have any suggestions for budget templates?
You know what, Beth, I'll take this one because I can tell everyone that the DeKalb Thriving Childcare Business Academy website, the website is up, but it is in the process of getting filled up with a lot more information. And a lot of that will be up there. There will be a budget template up there. That website is going to be a really great source of information. In you know, the Thriving Childcare Business Academy just opened, so it's getting started. We will have more webinars on similar topics. So we will have a budgeting webinar coming up, which will go through that template that we have in detail. And there will be a self-study guide posted on the Academy website as well that you can read. So definitely check back on that website if you don't see it yet. It'll be updated pretty frequently over the coming weeks.
Great. Thank you again, Leanne. Well, we are done with the information I have for you a bit early. You're welcome to go about your day, or if you wanted to ask any other questions or you know, if anything needs clarifying, I'd love to do that for you. But otherwise, thank you again for coming, and we'll see you hopefully at another DeKalb Thriving Childcare Business Academy webinar soon. I'll just give it another minute, Leanne, in case anybody thinks of a last minute question.
Absolutely. I'll stick around for a minute or two as well.
I appreciate that. Well, okay. Thanks all for coming. If you think of any other questions, go check out Thriving Childcare Business Academy, and hopefully you'll be able to find your answers there. Appreciate it, everybody. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.